that's it. So what we have now?
Top 10.
Top 10. As decided by myself and Randy. I gave Randy my top 6. He gave. We both have that one in our list.
Oh, okay.
He gave me his top 6. I gave him my top 6. We ended up having 3 or 4 in common.
Most of them.
Without even knowing.
I think I had 1 or 2 that you hadn't picked that I was like, oh yeah, definitely that has to be in.
And then, so this is the list we came up with. So number 10.
We both had this one.
Yep. This is actually would have been Rock and Hard Place. And
our first proper hard rock show that we both saw. In fact, I had the souvenir
the tour button
pin,
and I have it.
And he had lost his and never got it back, so I gave him mine, which is like.
And mine is in the frame of my room now.
Awesome. He took way better care of it than me. I wish I still had the shirts because they were such a source of.
I had the shirt too.
Such controversy because I was in junior high and it was like 8th or 9th grade, and because it said "Bitches Brew" on it. Oh, they had a fit. They had a total fit.
But this is the 2014 Record Store Day 180 gram repressing. That's the original pressing.
On Columbia.
Always thought that Rick Dufay looked a bit
goofy. There was some kind of my buddy Blinn Estes, who is like a fountainhead of knowledge of music. If you met Blinn, be like, holy shit. He knows stuff. He taught me a lot. There's something about Rick Dufay. He had some kind of connection to something to do with John Lennon's music, or something with the Beatles, and it was something shady. And so Blinn always hated him. And Blinn, I'd love to get your input, and maybe we can include it as to what was the deal with Rick Dufay. And I'm not trying to be libelous.
I have a solo album too that came out before this, and Tender Loving Abuse it was called, and it's Rick Springfield-ish kind of, it's just not my thing. I had the poster of this hanging on my wall, the promo poster for this, and it had this photo, and this photo on it. But this photo was different, and he was wearing a British flag shirt, and it was a much cooler picture. And then Tyler had a different photo too. But I think it looks like a badass. While we're talking about the cover art and what they're wearing, it's more than the music. I don't know.
Well, the back cover is kind of cooler than the front. For a couple of reasons.
Well, first of all, you got Spinal Tap going on here, totally.
Yeah, and I read an interview with Steven Tyler, and he was about as low as he could be at this point. He was so strung out on heroin.
And then he saw the Spinal Tap movie.
And he said it hit way too close to home. And the fact that they had used Stonehenge on the cover of Rock and Hard Place just like a year prior, he's like, that movie's talking to me, like telling me something.
At this point, I'd like to raise a practical question.
No!
Are we playing Stone? We're going to play Stonehenge tomorrow night. No, we're not going to fucking play Stonehenge tomorrow night!
I just watched that 2 days ago, too.
I love that movie.
Anyhow. But you know what? This is a strong Aerosmith album.
There's a reason it made our top 10, not just because it was our first concert.
It's great.
It's an underrated classic.
Great album. And it doesn't have a bunch of hits on it. Like, Lightning Strikes was probably the hit off of this.
And it was not written by them. It was written by... same guy who wrote Chip Away at the Stone, Richie Supa.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Cool.
And I
great
love
song. Loved it.
Great video too.
Out.
Really corny.
Very corny.
But
it's got them all dressed up as like 50s greasers.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Steven Tyler, when you try to make him look tough
when you try to make him look tough,
macho,
he doesn't.
He looks more feminine.
But here he looks like a badass.
Oh, he totally does. He's got the gypsy thing going on, and that's what works for him. Don't dress him up like a minor, please. I mean minor, one who minds, not a young child. And don't dress him up like a leather-clad badass with a switchblade. It doesn't work.
And don't dress him up like a young child either.
No, that.
That would be bad.
You can dress him up as a woman all you want, because it'll probably go great. In fact, I think he looks a little bit like, today, he looks like Venus from Sons of Anarchy. And those of you who are fans of that show, you'll never see Steven the same again. That's all I'm going to say.
Anyhow, heavy songs in this album, Jailbait. Great song. Awesome. Lightning Strikes, great song. Bitches Brew, Rockin' Hard Place, Trash Our Cats.
Their version of Cry Me a River. Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Total, like
London, Julie London, right?
I can't remember, but it's one of those loungy kind of songs.
Yeah, I think it's
like a torch song.
I could be wrong, but I'm thinking Julie London wrote the song right there. But man, performed it.
It's great. It's awesome. And Joe Cocker did a version of it too. Totally different.
Here's the insert that was inside. This is it's an insert in the repressing. It's a sleeve inside the original.
Yep. And it's got the lyrics to Prelude to Joni.
Right.
Which Prelude to Joni and Joni's Butterfly, another solid rock.
And that Prelude to Joni is nothing more than a poem.
Yep. Very odd poem. Very a lot of sexual overtones.
Very druggy,
but not
obviously druggy.
Yeah, very druggy-y. but not. It's more innuendo. It's like, you know, if you're looking for sexy things,
Yep.
what's wrong with being sexy?
It's sexist.
Oh, well.
All right, we're rambling on about Aerosmith.
Great.
One of my favorite bands,
Awesome album.
easily in my top 10. Even if I would have made a personal one, it would have been in my top 10. So,
All right, number 9. I was given the task of coming up with number 9. We were scarce one. I had it narrowed down to 5 different albums, and most of them I've already talked about. The Tigers of Pantang, Cage album, Rainbow, Straight Between the Eyes was another one. Riot, Restless Breed, and then another. I can't remember, but finally I just said, the hell with it, Scott, you pick. And really, it had to be this one. Saxon, Eagle Has Landed. It's a live album. First Saxon I heard was this. Before I really get into him heavy, this was the album I heard. My buddy Mike Cameron, Ernie, got into him before I did, turned me on to him, and I was like, yeah, this is a good band. And this is really one of those albums that, yeah, you can start with the live album and you can really get a flavor for what the band's all about.
You know, they say live albums are the end of an era, and it kind of was. For them.
It was.
You know, they continued on, obviously, but
Well,
they got
was
a little
Denim and Leather
before.
was before?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So after that, they kind of were going a little more commercial.
They did.
Still great. I mean,
They did that cover of Christopher Cross song "Ride Like the Wind,"
Yeah.
but personally, I loved it. I think
too.
they killed it.
But this album, heavy.
It's got all the best.
They somehow managed to capture that live energy and that raw heaviness.
Motorcycle Man,
Oh,
Strangers in the Night, Prince of the Dawn, Strong Arm of the Law. It's like a greatest hits live album.
Yeah.
There's not a bad song on it. It's the best of Saxon done on stage.
And the crowd is just crazy.
Yep, they are.
They were just huge then, and it's just it's kind of baffling how they went from. I mean, for them it was this climb, and they were just climbing, and then they put this album out, and
Yeah,
I don't know why
they just kind of disappeared.
They're
They're still going strong, and they're still putting out heavy stuff.
and they're still popular,
the
but they're
stuff
just
today,
not. They just didn't hit the Iron Maiden level.
No, they didn't. Probably, definitely, you know, second or third in line as far as like successful bands out of the new wave of British heavy metal movement.
Yeah, Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, Saxon,
Diamond Head.
Yeah.
But some of Biff's stage banter on here is classic. You know, he's before Strong Arm of the Law. He's like, I want to see people dying from exhaustion. All right. And it kicks in with that killer riff, and it's just a great album. Good choice. Yeah, I'm glad Scott made it for me.
Is Machine Gun on? I'm pretty sure.
Yep, it's the closer.
I mean, that there, right there, that's your start of your speed metal sound. I mean, that was speed metal for '82.
Yeah, great stuff.
Of course, there's another album that we're going to be showing which really has this speed metal, but we'll get to that.
True.
Next up, what is next up? Let's see here. We got. Yes, it would be those two. Correct.
Or those? Oh, we only did one.
Well,
Which one you want?
I'll take this one because I'll start.
First.
Twisted Sister, Rough Cuts. Twisted Sister were a local band from my area. Anybody who's interested, I do have a video totally donated.
I want a donut.
Donut. Dedicated to Twisted Sister, so you can check that. But this was basically the first 12-inch album I had bought by them.
Yep.
I was in high school. I love this record, including Leader of the Pack, which
Leader
they never ever should have re-recorded.
No, they
should have
shouldn't
stayed
have.
with
They
this.
ruined it.
They ruined it. This album, this version, great. 4-song EP. Huge band in my area. I lived in New Jersey back at the time. Huge local band, and this was they put this out kind of as a teaser to what became our album number 8,
Under the Blade.
Under the Blade.
Different versions on Rough Cuts though, and different versions from the 45s.
Correct.
As well.
All
So
different.
it was all for the Twisted Sister collector. It's all worth having.
Yep.
Under the Blade. Oh my God. I mean, first Twisted Sister I heard was the 12-inch EP for I Am I'm Me, which was prior to We Can't Stop Rock and Roll.
Yep.
But the B-side was live stuff from the Marquee show, which are now legendary, all from Under the Blade. And oh my God. When me and my buddy Chris Ellenack, again, he's like the one I grew up with heavy metal. We heard that stuff, we were blown to pieces. We just started scouring for everything Twisted Sister we could possibly find. And when we found this, I think it was before You Can't Stop Rock and Roll came out. Man, we just obliterated. What a great album.
The last video that Randy and I did together was 1981, and we showed or 1981, we showed the Twisted Sister 7-inch singles.
45s, yeah.
And some guy argued with us in the notes below that Twisted Sister are not a heavy metal band; they're just a hard rock band. I don't know how anybody who's heard this record can deny that this is. I mean, this.
What is it? Because they sing about rock and roll in some of their songs? Is that what makes them a hard rock band versus a heavy metal band?
I mean, they're so fast. Most of the songs on here, and the slowest song on there is Destroyer, and it's just just
like
crushing
it's
heavy.
Like doom metal.
Destroyer, Mark Mendoza. It's just brilliantly heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, just raw, in your face.
Totally. And I definitely prefer the Secret Records version over the slicked up Atlantic
the 85 remix over Atlantic. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was a moneymaker trying to, on the coattails of their success.
And it was
Stay Hungry.
Sort of produced by Pete Way of UFO fame. I mean, maybe all the way, but from what I understand, he was pretty wrecked most of the time.
Yeah.
And then the cover art.
Pete Way.
The cover art was just from the same photographer who did the Ozzy albums, the first two Ozzy albums. Right?
This is the classic one.
Yep. Great record. Awesome great EP. Both worth picking up.
Cool little little story about this one. The closer, Day of the Rocker. I think Twisted Sister closes every show with it. They play the song over the loudspeaker system, not they play it. Day of the Rocker's the final cut on here, and if you let it play through the first couple of Secret Records releases, it's got a manufactured skip, so it'll come to it. It'll say,
it comes into the end and just keep rock. Exactly.
Forever.
But there's not every version. There's more than one version of this. There's a yellow label, and a black label, and I believe it's the black label that has it and the yellow doesn't. One of the two, doesn't matter.
I'm sure I have it.
There are several versions of it, so
I love stuff like that, like little messages in the.
And then some of the versions come with a picture sleeve, and some of them come with an insert.
And mine is a insert.
Yep, use an insert, and then you have the
record.
The black
Look at the black one.
And the black one does. I know the black one has the rock at the end of it, so.
I can't see it by sight, but it looks
no,
like
you can't. I'm almost positive it's on that version. I have both versions, but I'm pretty sure it's on that one.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, what's next on our list? It's on your side, so you're gonna have to grab it.
We got two.
I'll take this for you.
Okay. Yeah, we got two. Oh, great album. Really, this is a band that they've been around since the early 70s, and they fit in just perfectly with the kind of head music, progressive, harder rock at the time. But they really evolved, and really they were just as comfortable in the heavy metal scene of the early 80s. Scorpions. And I mean, Blackout, to me, this is the last great Scorpions
Right,
album.
from beginning to end.
Oh yeah. Nothing on, I mean, this is them at their hardest and heaviest, and still with that edge. They hadn't really had super commercial success yet, like they would with their next one.
At least in America, they were huge in
in
Japan
Europe.
and Europe.
The Blackout really broke them in America big time.
Can't Live Without You, the title track.
No One Like You. That was a huge,
No One Like You. There was another one. Yep.
Arizona.
Yeah. China White.
China White's my favorite, and Smoke Is Going Down is a great one of their ballads.
And Randy happens to have two versions of this.
UK and the US.
This is the US
UK
version.
one's on EMI. US one's on
Mercury. And
the only difference is, white logo and white title on this, red logo and black title.
Black type. Yeah.
But look at the cover. Look at the guy's face. Recognize him? That's Rudy Schenker.
That's Rudy Schenker.
That's totally Rudy Schenker. He's got that mustache, and they probably even have the cracks in his teeth. I remember when this came out, I wanted to dress up like this as Halloween so bad. For Halloween. My mom next it. You're not putting forks over your eyes. Like, I'll use plastic ones.
Melton?
Nope.
Nice. All right, so next up,
we got kind of a pile of stuff.
Yeah, next up is another new wave of British heavy metal bands.
This could have been either number 1 or number 2 for me if this was just my thing that I was doing.
Yeah, I'll take a couple of those here. So the album let's show the album that actually we picked for it is
Borrowed
Time.
Diamond Head. There were a couple of other releases, EPs and singles that came out in '82 as well,
which we'll show here.
Actually, they were both off of this because this was a single for Call Me as well. That's right. Okay, so Living on Borrowed Time. Story about this one. One of my all-time favorite albums in the world, heavy metal or otherwise. And first off, Rodney Matthews cover. Love his work. Elric from the Michael Moorcock legend. It's great. It's got orange on it, my favorite color.
I love Rodney Matthews. Matter of fact,
great stuff.
Yeah, he's done so many great Nazareth.
This one I have it's the UK version of MCA. It's a gatefold and it's got the killer.
Which is the best version.
Full-length art. Great band photos on the inside, professionally done. This band should have been huge based on this album alone. And I know that I come up against a lot of metalheads when I say this, but it's my favorite Diamond Head. I know that Lightning to the Nations, aka the White Album, a lot of people, it's blasphemy to not say that was the best. But this had the blue Diamond Head label on it. It's only 7 songs on here, so just over an EP. The version of Am I Evil on here to me is heavier and better than the version that's on Lightning to the Nations that has the keyboard intro with the guitars. This version came with
Poster.
Fold-out poster of the cover, and it's also got a picture sleeve. Well, not picture sleeve, but a lyrics sleeve.
Lyric sleeve, but it's got the logo on it. So
yeah, it's got tour dates. It's got the lyrics to Borrowed Time and Into the Heat of the Night, which are kind of the 2 epic tracks on here. They redid not only Am I Evil, they also redid To Heaven from Hell and Lightning to the Nations, the song. I prefer these versions. They're a little cleaner, but they're just better. The band sounded more confident the way they played them, and the way that they had evolved. It's just got a better sound overall.
And here's the also from that same year, the 4 Cuts EP.
Yep.
Both on 7 and 12 inch. Both of these happen to belong to Randy. He's a collector of Diamond Head stuff. So.
Love Diamond Head. And this has got 3 songs not on Borrowed Time, but Call Me is on there, which is also on Borrowed Time. It's kind of the single. 3 cuts on there that are just killer. The definitive version of Dead Reckoning, which was a re-record from way earlier, but this is, again, the definitive version. They just had something going this year. Trick or Treat and an updated version of Shoot Out the Lights, which is like the 3rd version they've done. It's a great EP. And then we got In the Heat of the Night also came out as a single. I've got a double. It's got Play It Loud Live, and it's got a free single with this that has Sweet and Innocent and an interview that goes with it. And then the 12-inch, which just has Play It Loud and In the Heat of the Night, which was, again, Call Me and In the Heat of the Night, 2 singles from the Borrowed Time album from Diamond Head, one of my favorites of all time. Love those guys.
And I think our next choice, number 5, is going to surprise some people because you're going to be surprised that it's not up higher in the list. But it could easily have been. It's just we couldn't knock down the ones that were.
I know.
So
the ones that are above it were so.
They were in both of our lists.
They were just so incredible that it was just like, ah.
So number 5 is
Number of the Beast.
So what happened to Bruce? Dick?
There he is.
There he is. There he goes.
Wow. Maiden with Bruce Dickinson, new version. They came out swinging.
Iron Maiden 2.0.
Damn, what a great album. There's still so much of the new wave of British heavy metal flavor left in this album. They hadn't lost it yet. They were still like street punks.
Still heavy, still pounding.
So great.
Still rivet heads.
Yeah, and I've got my original version here from my original collection back when I was a teenager. It's got the little dino label that I used to put on the back, down in the corner, not writing on the cover and ruining it.
But yeah, I mean, I remember Killers was my first album. When this came out, I was just wow. And I can't even say when this came out, I didn't even know who Samson was.
No.
It was actually because of this I discovered Samson.
You discovered all those other bands. Yep.
An awesome record. First of all, you got what? The title track.
No, the title track's great. And then, this is all during that whole, we've talked about it before, the witch hunt of the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Where, everyone was looking for the devil in heavy metal. So, obviously, it was a smokescreen because he was somewhere else. And this is just the thing that got all the religious fanatics wound up enough to make such a stink about it that would distract you from probably what was a real serious issue going on somewhere else. But I digress.
And, Number of the Beast, a song about a nightmare, basically. Or a dream.
It's good stuff. I mean, I was a little freaked out by it for a little while, but that was just me at the time. I couldn't deny what a great album this was.
And then what was one of the most popular songs from that album?
Run to the Hills. And Derek Riggs is just in overdrive. He's not only designing their full-length album covers, he's designing 12-inch EPs, 7-inch singles, everything. And the great thing about his stuff is there's always little things hidden in it.
Always.
That you just sit there and look and find them. And there's one of these.
Oh, these ones are great. These little creatures down the bottom.
Yeah, and if you look at it's probably the Flight of Icarus one. It's got little stick figures in the background, like in front of flames, and you can see one of them, 2 people having sex. He's got one of them bent over, and he's doing her from the back, and who knows? But it's just little goofy stuff like that you find. That
You know what I always find amusing about the Satan, their Satan worshippers, is Eddie's always beating the crap out of the devil.
I know.
Even here, he's controlling him. He's like,
it's like devil thinks he's controlling the little Eddie puppet, but Eddie's controlling the devil. And even in a number of the beasts, it's got Eddie. It's got the devil's head in his hand, and I always loved that, because I did have some kind of questions about.
Here he's.
That's true. He is.
He's just about to decapitate him.
He's about to totally put a hatchet in his chest.
But it's so heavy. And the bass, of course, just rips through. I mean,
it does.
Steve Harris is,
There's not a bad song on it. My favorites, personally, probably Invaders.
Invaders is great. Hallowed Be Thy Name is one that comes to the top.
Yeah. Yep. 22 Acacia Avenue. My metal band in high school, Airborne, we used to do a bunch of this stuff. We did Hallowed Be Thy Name. I think we did 22 as well.
Well, if you're a metal band in the 80s, you had to do it.
Yeah. Gangland was great. That's the one with the cool drum intro?
Yeah. See, I was a huge fan of Heathen's Rage, which are a high school band who some of you guys probably know because they have this big cult following, especially in Greece. But they used to just do several songs of this album, and they just did it fantastic.
Yeah. And Maiden always, some bands, they got to put their own images on the label, and it's like cool. It's got Eddie's head, which is one of the better pictures of him from the time, and the picture of him standing under the spotlight. What does that say? Charge what?
Okay, sorry about that technical error. We ran out of battery because we've been rambling on for so long.
It's like we're just about there. Order form in Number of the Beast, which had the Iron Maiden gauntlet wristband, which I always thought was very cool looking, but I never ordered it. I didn't have any money. Picture sleeve, lyric sleeve. It's got a bunch of like Kodak-looking shots of the band. Kind of artistic statements. Cool. Pretty cool. Great album.
Great classic. I mean,
very classic.
Easily could have been number 1.
And it's what, number 5 or 6?
It is number 5.
Still, it's in the top 5. I mean, come on.
Number 4, huge return for this band after dabbling in styles that most people didn't care for at the time. I remember my buddy Tony Lee called me up. He's like, dude, you got to come check out the new album by Kiss. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Creatures of the Night.
Same with me and Chris Alanak, man. It was the same thing. We were both... The funny thing was, I don't know, you probably were the same way. We had all our Kiss albums like in a box in the basement, hidden in a corner. We were ashamed to admit that we still liked them even had them. And I remember before this came out, maybe a year or two before, Chris and I went and we cracked open our box of Kiss stuff, and we totally, like a total guilty pleasure fest. We were spinning the albums, we were doing air guitar in the basement and just having a blast. And then very shortly after this came out, totally redeemed the whole thing. I mean, probably the heaviest album Kiss has ever done.
Oh yeah, and the drum sound,
oh my god,
bombastic is the word I'd choose. Eric Carr,
Chris's parents had just bought a really nice stereo system, and his favorite thing to do was throw this on the turntable, crank the bass, lose the treble, and play I Love It Loud, and just shake the whole friggin' neighborhood. And it did.
And the cover for this album, I've always thought it was just really cool. I mean, I don't know, and the video for this is corny as crap. But
it is, because they try to recreate something cool in real life, and it doesn't work.
But you know what? I still liked it. I was a Kiss fanatic. I don't remember ever not being a Kiss fanatic. I don't ever remember hiding like that. I know a lot of people did, because I mean, Shandy and...
Yeah, after Unmasked came out, it just became very unfashionable.
Especially because if you were a metal fan, it was just like, what are they doing? This disco stuff. Anyhow, this album, they redeemed themselves. Vinnie Vincent came along, helped them out on this one.
Of course, we didn't know that at the time because Ace was
is pictured.
This
happens to be a reissue. This is the gatefold with the lyrics inside.
Oh, that's cool.
And this album happens to be on glow-in-the-dark vinyl.
Oh, neat.
This looks green in here, but if you turn the lights out, you gotta let it sit in light for a while. But if you turn the lights out,
awesome,
it glows.
When did that come out?
I don't remember.
It's gotta be pretty recent.
Yeah, well, in the 2000s, but not early 2000s.
Okay. And there's the lyric sheet that came with the original release, got the blue, and pretty cool. Was this their first one on Mercury?
I'm trying to remember now. Let's see. So
before this, Polygram?
Before this, there was...
it's Polygram.
Right. But before this,
Casablanca is still listed.
But the Killers would have been, right?
Oh, that's right.
So Killers would have been the first one.
Yep, you're right.
Yep, Killer.
Oh, wait, this is the German one, so it's not really...
It's Phonogram, though, right?
Is that it?
Phonogram, or yeah, whatever it is. I don't know. But anyhow. We digress. Doesn't matter what label it's on.
Polygram, Polydor,
and there's honestly not a bad song on it. I like every song.
Oh, it's great.
Paul Stanley's vocals on "I Still Love You."
Oh.
The guy
I tell you what, do this. Okay, next time you get brokenhearted by some woman breaks your heart, I'm speaking to the men, guys, boys, whatever. Throw on "I Still Love You" and see if you don't feel like shooting yourself. Oh my God! But it describes it to a T. It's like, wow.
Yep.
It's heavy, and it's just, the Star Child is singing it, the expert and the cosmic mystical entity that knows all things love.
Saint and Sinner, Keep Me Coming, Rock and Roll Hell, which I've always read was kind of about Ace.
But Rock and Roll Hell's a cover.
Right, it is a
it's
cover.
It's a Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Right,
but it's a little different. They took parts of it.
And they changed it up.
Yeah, and Bryan Adams has a songwriting credit for part of this too.
Right, and from what I understood, it had something to do with Ace. I don't know. I just read it had something to do with Ace. There was some connection there with him being tortured, being still in the band or something like that. Could be wrong, but Danger, I Love It Loud, I Still Love You, Killer and War Machine, a song I swore for years and years. Some death metal bands got to record that, and some death metal band finally did.
Good. War Machine's a great.
It's just such a heavy, punishing song.
It's one of those Gene icon character songs, and we hadn't heard many of those for a while. Like he had Almost Human, he had Calling Dr. Love, he had God of Thunder. All these kind of character songs that spoke to his persona in the band. And so we haven't heard them for a while, and along comes War Machine. It was totally along those lines. X-Ray Eyes, Charisma, all those songs. They're all, and there was even that collection that was called Icon that came out. It was kind of displaying the songs that showcase their different characters.
Yep.
It was cool.
So the next one, again, I think it's might surprise some people because it came in above Iron Maiden and Kiss.
It was just that good.
But it's in both of our lists. This is another one, he always talks about Chris Olenek and Tony Lee. My friend in high school turned me on to Metal on Metal.
Mike Cameron turned me on to this one. But
this is my first album from Anvil, and oh my gosh, this was...
And at the time, heaviest thing I'd ever heard.
There is nothing heavier than this.
Now, we're not talking like Sabbath heavy. We're talking like, this is pre-Metallica thrash.
Right,
heavy.
exactly. That's it. And then I started hearing stuff like Exciter and well, even Raven had this kind of sound. And it was around the same time I discovered Raven, and when I discovered this. And, wow.
I've got the Attic Records version, and I've got the picture sleeve that came with it with lyrics.
I have
just a collage.
I knew he had that one, so I brought a different version. I have that one too, but I also have this version, which is also Attic Records because there was a label they were signed to. This one happens to actually be signed by Lips and Rob Reiner when we saw him here in Arizona.
2009.
Yep. Very, very nice guy.
He was great.
We won't tell the story again. We told it in the last video.
Yeah.
This one does not have the picture sleeve. It came on but
it's autographed, so that totally takes it up a notch.
So there's the other Attic label. So it's a little different than that label.
They never outdid this.
I'm so much of an Anvil fanatic. I have both, and I had to bring this along.
Oh, sweet!
This is the picture disc of that same album.
Classic shot of the band on the back. Love it.
Yep.
Even mine's a little different from yours. Yours has white print. Mine's yellow.
Correct.
But this classic lineup, and they just look like tough badasses. You just don't want to run into them.
That's thrash metal before thrash metal, right there.
It's true.
I mean, there's the thrash metal look right there.
And I mean, the guy's he's got a Crocus patch on his jean jacket, a Harley Davidson patch. There was a European influence here, even though they were a Canadian band. And I think that's what kind of gave them that edge.
Yep.
Because the European metal just had that. It just had something more. It was like something more mysterious, I guess. I don't know.
But there's also a huge, and I think on the first album as well as this one, a big Ted Nugent vibe.
Yes, big one. But there's not a song here I don't like.
Nope.
666 used to freak me out, but now I love it. It's one of my favorite songs. The title track, I just remember, these are the days when I was carrying around a cassette boombox, and this was I moved to California in 1983, and this was the album that I was playing over and over. I was out walking in a new neighborhood, I didn't know anybody, but this was the album that was comforting me, because it was just like, oh my God, this album is so damn
I played
heavy.
it over and over and over again. The title track with that I don't know, that pipe on metal
Yeah,
thing.
the clanging.
Dunk.
Yep.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. Jackhammer's on here. What else is on here? It was great. March of the Crabs.
March of the Crab's a great instrumental.
Yep.
And you know damn well what kind of crabs he's talking about.
Yep.
Too.
Tease Me, Please Me, Mothra.
Mothra's awesome.
Yeah, that's another.
It's like companion song to Godzilla.
Yep, that's another Anvil classic. So
the
there you go.
the other greatest song written about the Japanese kaiju.
Yep.
The battle monsters.
Like I said, he was really cool when we met him. And speaking of the Ted Nugent influence, we actually asked him about that when we were talking to him.
Yep.
He's like, of course I'm a huge. Where do you think I got the hollow body guitar idea from?
Yep. And he's got the hollowed out Flying V.
Hollow Flying V, yep. So, and that's when we gave him the Nugent hat, and he was geeked out over that.
He
So
totally
that was
did.
pretty
There's a picture of us on
Facebook, yeah.
Where he's got this big ass smile on his face.
All right, this next one is another one that rocked my world in that year. I mean, of course, you know, the Aerosmith and the Kiss and did too, but this album, oh my goodness, especially the title track and Fast as a Shark.
What I was just saying about Anvil being the heaviest thing I ever heard, it went second place when I heard this.
Fast as a Shark.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
come on, you don't. That was speed metal before there was speed metal.
It was ridiculous. I remember I heard this on. I was on cross country team in high school, and there was a couple of guys on the team that were more into metal than me because they knew all the European stuff, and they'd bring tapes on the trips that we go. This was one of the things they played, and it opens up with that stupid Heidi sounding.
Heidi,
Yeah.
Heido.
Yeah, and then the scratch comes in, and Udo. That scream heard around the world. I mean, that's when, like, oh my God, the game changed. Granted, it changed even more the next year, but Accept is like the missing link, I think.
Yeah.
Between the classic heavy metal
and the speed metal thrash.
Speed metal thrash that Metallica and others introduced us to. But,
And
oh my God, this album is great.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of this album. I remember hanging out with again Tony Lee, and we both got these guys we hung out with back then, and John Berlaga, who was the manager for Heathen's Rage, and I can remember listening to this with these guys and just being blown away. And then maybe a year later, Heathen's Rage started playing Fast as a Shark live.
Wow.
Nailed it. And that was one of the reasons they were so different, because all these other cover bands were playing, you know, Zeppelin and back at the time, but they were playing this.
That's the kind of stuff DTC usually would do, although we
Yeah.
never did Fast as a Shark. We got the UK cover over here and the US cover.
I like them both, but
yeah, this was the back cover, not on fire, but the back cover for Breaker was the Flying V's stacked together without the flames yet. So
I love them. I like them both. That one's just cool too because it's a cool concert shot. This one's cool.
And I never knew this cover existed until years later, so it was kind of like an afterthought.
And the back cover with the burned guitars on here.
Yeah, and this is just more live shots, and it's just a weird. The front he's choking Peter Baltz.
Yeah.
Peter's in a back bend or something, and the back, the picture of Udo on the back of this one. He looks like some kind of mutant or midget or something. Like his arms are too short, and he's not the greatest looking guy. I know that's blunt.
I met him once when I went to go see UDO play, and very, very nice guy. Signed my stuff, sat there and talked to us, and he sat there and watched Saxon with us. Because he was in the back of the auditorium. It was his last date of the tour that he was on with Saxon, and he just sat back there. And he's a very cool guy. And then I met his brother Peter too.
You meet everybody.
So,
but I mean,
other iconic
if Halford is the metal god, Udo is right up there, like at his right or left hand, because he's got the staying power. He's been around forever. He has done just as much for metal. Maybe not as in bright of a spotlight as Rob, but still, same thing.
And other classic songs in here: Neon Nights, Shake Your Heads, Princess of the Dawn.
The title track, Restless and Wild,
of course.
DT Seizure did do that one.
Yep,
we did.
So there you go. Except that was our number 3 pick, I believe.
What could number 2 and
No, I'm sorry,
1?
that wasn't number 2. That was
number
2.
Was?
I'm sorry.
Oh, here's Riot.
All right,
number
one.
Can you throw in like a drum roll or something?
Number 1, I probably could.
Because this deserves it.
We'll do something. Number 1.
Screaming for Vengeance.
Screaming for Vengeance.
Oh my God. This is still in my top 5 favorite albums of all time. They were on tour with Maiden. Number of the Beast and Screaming for Vengeance came out the same year. I mean, seminal albums for both bands. And they were touring together. I wish I could have seen that one. They came to town, I just couldn't go. I was still too young, I guess. I don't know. But
Oh yeah, it was. I remember that same tour. They were played the Spectrum, and I begged my mother to let me go. 82. I was just too young, man. It was that Aerosmith concert the next year, that '83, that ended up being my first. And yeah, I wanted to see.
And let's face it, Priest and Maiden in '82 for like 12, 13-year-old boys.
Oh, that would have been awesome, though.
It would have been awesome, but
I did see him twice on the next tour. On the
did?
Defenders of the Faith tour. I saw him at the Spectrum, then I went down and saw him at the Meadowlands in New Jersey.
I saw him once on the Defenders tour.
And I believe it was Great
awesome.
White was opening for him when I saw him.
When I saw him, it was Kick-Axe.
Kick-Axe.
And I totally get into Kick-Axe because of that. I love those guys.
Another Canadian band.
Yeah. What do we got? From an unknown land and through distant skies came a winged warrior. Nothing remained sacred. No one is safe from the alien as it uttered its battle cry, screaming for vengeance! Ah!
Yeah. Classic record. And I have to. I've had this copy forever. It's one of the few I keep in the shrink wrap because I like the sticker.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, so I have that one, and then I also brought along the original 82 picture disc.
Sweet.
So that's the original 82 picture disc. Got a cool photo in the back.
Never seen this one.
And then here's the reissue, the
30th anniversary.
The anniversary issue. Yep.
Awesome.
So and she has an insert in the back. I can't remember what the back of the. I'm gonna have to look now.
Back of the album.
The back of the. I gotta see what the back of the picture just looks like on this one because I can't. It's been so long since I.
This one's got a shot from the Defenders era.
Yep.
Because that was definitely, they were still denim and leather during Screaming for Vengeance days. Before Michael Jackson came in and changed
the
it.
pictures might have come out in '83, but oh yeah, this one does have a different back. So here's the back of the
okay.
The reissue. And I've played this one, and this sounds very, very good.
And that usually was not the case with picture discs. They
now
had
that other picture disc
quality.
the other one that he has over there does not sound good. I mean, doesn't sound horrible, but it's kind of crackly sounding.
Yeah.
Picture discs have come a long way, and the newer ones sound much better.
There's the order form that came with Screaming for Vengeance.
Yep, got that one in mind too.
Bunch of crap. I mean, all this merch. Whatever happened to all of it? You know. And then we've got the picture disc, which is probably my all-time favorite picture of Priest ever. When they're standing in front of the stage lights, and Rob is totally all leathered up, and they still. Oh, maybe that was wrong. Hold on. This picture is from the same period.
Could be.
Yeah, it could very well be. I never realized that they had the kind of goofy kind of accoutrements with the leather jackets they were wearing. But it's just, that's classic Priest. That's like Priest at their pinnacle as far as of coolness, and just, this is my favorite Priest album and one of my favorite metal albums of all time.
And the picture disc, according to actually says on here what year it was released. It was released. Picture disc was released in '84.
So a couple of years later.
A couple years later, yeah. So there you go. So there was our number one. So
yeah,
that's it for this edition. It's a lengthy one. It might even be 3 parts. I'm not sure. I got to see how long it is.
Yeah,
hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and leave a thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down. I know we ramble a lot. Maybe you guys want to talk a little bit about it below. Both of us will be in there chatting back with you guys. So appreciate you watching.
There should be links for go check out my YouTube channels.
Yeah, Stone Groove Records.
Stone Groove Records and Stone Grooves and Deep Cuts, my radio show I do twice weekly, and also check out stonegrooverecords.bandcamp.com for all the releases that we're doing.
So that's it for this edition of Hard and Heavy. Hope you enjoyed it. God bless. Stay strong.
See ya.